So I wanted to talk for a minute about how you're showing up for yourself, how you're showing up in the world. And I think this is a really important part of learning to connect with yourself, right? And the reason it's important might not be what you think. Now, a lot of people would touch on this subject and think, oh, well, it's important because you're worried about what other people think about you. It's about what other people are judging you for, right? And that's not necessarily the case. What this is really about is the way that you show up for yourself in the world. The way that you treat yourself is how others will learn to treat you. And you are special, you are important, and you deserve to be treated in a way that makes you feel good and makes you feel happy, right? So if you're not showing up for yourself, why would somebody else show up for you, right? So I want to talk for a little bit about a couple of different areas in which you can show up for yourself that will help you get the treatment and the respect that you are wanting in your life, right? Now, the first one's going to be a little controversial because it does deal with your appearance, right? Now, unfortunately, people do judge on first appearances, but also, too, they judge what they see as a cumulative whole, right? So if somebody knows you for 6 months, this is just something that they notice because they're looking at you, right? It's part of having a relationship or connection. You look at the person that you're connecting with, right? And even if it's like online or whatever, you're seeing pictures of somebody you know who you're talking to on the other end, right? So it's important how you show up. Not because it's important to look a certain way, right? You should always be very authentic with how you show up. You should show up how you feel comfortable in a way that makes you feel like you can express who you are in a good way. So you can have crazy hair. You can dress in crazy clothes. It doesn't matter. It's not about the style or what's going on. It's more about the presentation of what's happening. So it's kind of like doing a self-check before you leave the house in the morning. Did you comb your hair? Did you brush your teeth? Are you trying to wear pajama bottoms as pants? Are you wearing clothes that are super wrinkled? Do they have rips or tears or stains in them? And stuff that's been there a while, not something like, oops, I accidentally spilled a little something at breakfast. Like there's a huge stain across my chest, but I love the shirt and I'm not getting rid of it no matter what. These are things that show people how you feel about yourself, whether you think about that or not. So it's not about the style or, the things that you're choosing for yourself. It's about the presentation of it, right? So as long as you're keeping an eye on that, I think that's really going to show people kind of the respect you have for yourself in one way, right? So the other things that I want to talk about might be some other areas that you might not think about right away. The first area that I think is important to look at is, are your actions matching your words, right? Because I think a lot of times too, people pay attention to that. If your actions don't match your words, one very common thing that you come off as is flaky, not dependable, right? So if somebody really needs something, you're not going to be their first phone call at all. And so I think it's really important to keep an eye on that, because the flip side of that is if that's how you show up for yourself, that's how other people are going to show up for you. If they can't count on you, how likely are they going to be to come to your rescue when you need something if you're not there for them, right? It's an even balance. So something like that is really important. If somebody tells you to keep a secret for them and you blab it and then you tell them something in confidence, well, guess what's going to happen? They might not respect that boundary if that's a boundary that you yourself don't respect, right? So that leads us kind of into the third thing that you can look at, which is actual boundaries, right? And this is kind of how you kind of protect your space and your time and your energy. So where this goes haywire, where people have issues with this, is if they are people pleasers, right? Sometimes too, people with low self-esteem, they might want to people please in order to be liked. Like that might be another kind of factor of this. It's a really hard area. Boundaries are really hard. It's something I'm still working on. I have a hard time with. I'm doing better, but I think it's a learning process for a lot of people. But also too, if you have very poor boundaries, people are likely to try to exploit that about you. If they know you're a pushover for stuff and you say no, but then you do it anyway, they might take advantage of you. So I think when you show people that you have good boundaries, it's a sign of respect that you have for yourself, right? For your time, your energy, your expertise that you have, right? If you're giving away stuff that you do for free, like if I did tarot readings for free, nobody would really kind of respect the time and the energy that I put in, and you would feel taken advantage of after a while. So I think boundaries are a really important way that you can show up for yourself. So if you say no on something and you hold firm, somebody's going to know, I'm not going to try to push that boundary. That's something that's really important to her, right? And something I know she won't budge on. So that's one way that you can really show up, is to keep those boundaries really firm. The last section I want to talk about today is really equally important because it kind of goes into more deeper relationships too. It's for people who know you a little bit better. Friends, family, relationship sort of things. People you might be around on a little more consistent basis, because this is somebody who's looking at your life in all of the areas, maybe not just an area like work or like an acquaintance kind of thing. Now, what happens here is people are looking at how you treat yourself, right? And not just with some of the other things we mentioned, but with how you are celebrating big wins in your life, right? If you celebrate a win because it's important to you and you're like, yeah, heck yeah, I did that. That was a big deal. I did a lot of work. I'm really proud of myself and I deserve to celebrate, right? And maybe you just get yourself a cupcake. Maybe you take yourself on a week-long vacation to Hawaii. I don't know, like whatever works for you, right, is the right thing. But when other people see that, that's how they're going to respond to you. So if I see somebody and I have somebody special in my life, it's a really close friend or a partner, and they are celebrating their wins, right? And their achievements. I'm going to do something to celebrate them too, because one, I know that they like that's something that's important to them, right? So I'm going to try to help them. Like if I know they're going to take a trip or something, I might get something that's related to a travel thing that they can take to celebrate their win. See how that works? So that's one really good way you can show up for yourself. Something else too is, how do you treat yourself, like for big moments and small moments? Like, how do you treat yourself on a random Wednesday? Did you have a long day of work? You come home, you cook yourself a nice dinner. You bought some flowers for yourself at the farmer's market for the week because it makes you happy and it makes you smile when you look at them. These are things that people are paying attention to, whether you think they are or not. Especially if people like you, they're watching that, because if there's a moment in time when they want to celebrate you or do something or take care of you when you're having a bad day, these are things that they're going to do for you because you're showing them that you already like that for yourself, right? You're training your friends pretty much, right? Like you're giving them examples. So that's important. I think something I see a lot too is a lot of times with birthdays, people kind of get down in the dumps, right? Oh, it's my birthday. I don't know what to do. I'm feeling funky. Stuff's weird or like whatever. So when people watch you display that energy, they're going to think you don't want to celebrate it. They're going to think you don't care. When probably what most people that do that want is they want attention. They want somebody to acknowledge them and be like, your birthday, that's amazing. That's cool. You made it another, trip around the sun. Let's go celebrate. Let's get a drink. Let me take you to dinner. Here's some flowers. Like, I saw this really cool thing that reminded me of you, right? And I think you have to be careful of the impression that you're giving off, because people are reacting to that. So the way that you show up in the world is important. So you can try working on any one of these areas or all of these areas, or just kind of checking in and see if this is stuff you're already doing, right? Maybe you're already on point. Maybe you don't need me, right? So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that gives you, something interesting to think about and to work on. So until next time, I love you guys. Thank you for watching, for all your love and support. You guys are amazing. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, and have an absolutely beautiful day.